Hello, hello. Welcome to today's installment on how to create the beautiful life and business you really want. And P.S., if you watched last week's installment, I'm still using that technique this week. I landed a new client, like the most effortless sale in the world in my 3-month program, paid in full up front. So that technique is still rolling out miracles for me. I hope you can use it too. If you didn't get a chance to watch last week's live, check it out um, and start using that phrase. Today, we're talking all about how you can start to create a life you really love. And it starts with asking yourself, are you really where you would like to be? Is this the life that you really want? Are you living each day as your best self? And what can you change today? I'll let you know. Um, when you start to really ask yourselves these kinds of questions and reflect on your daily life, and really kind of dive in there and ask yourself if you're thriving, or are you just going through the motions? Are you growing at all? You know, are your days full of work and relationships and activities and just stuff, and at the end of the day you feel drained, or you feel unsatisfied with your life? Like there ought to be more to it, right? That's why I'm doing today's segment. um, so let me introduce myself. If you're new to me, I'm Condi Bartlett, and I am a manifestation expert, a master mindset coach, and a modern mystic. What does that mean? It means I help people define and manifest the life of their dreams. In real life, I help people find the love of their life, double, triple, or 10x their income, reverse chronic illness, and create true happiness from a place of authentic living. I'm obsessed with helping you achieve everything that you once thought wasn't possible. And if you're looking to massively up level your life, your finances, your relationship, health, and your success, then you're in the right place here with me. My goal is to help you see the infinite potential and possibilities that are available to you so that you can manifest your heart's desire, all of them. So think of this as your weekly dose of mindset and personal growth development to help you maximize who you are and where you're going and the impact that you make in the world, right? Leave it to me to provide you with the tools, the knowledge, the resources, the strategies, teaching you how to manifest a life you really love. Now, I know we're going to have fun today because I love to have fun, and you're going to have fun with me on this journey. So thank you for being in my orbit. Thank you for being here. If you're here live or on the replay, let me know in the comments that you're here. I'm trying to get this on my phone so I can see the comments. I'm using StreamYard, which means there's a link above this video that says something like Facebook probably /StreamYard, and it gives Facebook permission to use your name so I can see who you are in the comments and that you're here live with me. So thank you for joining me. Let's dive into this content. Like I said, I'm going to show you the 4 simple steps to creating a life you absolutely love to wake up in every morning. Does that sound good? Give me a yes in the comments or a 1 in the comments if that sounds good to you. Okay, let's get started. Like I said, there are 4 steps to this process. And the first is choosing what you love. It sounds simple, right? But sometimes people get stuck on this piece because they are so focused on what they should do based on what their parents said or what society says, or they want to manifest something that's reasonable or practical, right? And so they don't choose what they love. They just choose what they're going to settle for. And I don't encourage settling. I would really love you to start living the life that you're excited to be in. That you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is my life, right? So first off, choose what you love. And sometimes the contrast helps us with that because it's like we know what we don't like, what's happening in our life right now that you don't like, right? And that helps us think about, oh, I don't really like this thing that's happening right now, this current shortage of money, or this relationship that's not working, or my health that's not so good, right? So if you focus on that for a minute and you say, what is it I would love to have happen instead of this thing, right? It's that simple. And then choose it. Number 2 is decide that you can have what you desire. Decide that you can have the love of your life. And it can be somebody that's emotionally available, that's nurturing, that's kind, that's compassionate, that's funny, right? Whatever your list is of things you have to have, right? Or decide that you'd like to have perfect health, that you'd like to have um, continuous vitality as you age, that you barely age, right? You're making the plan here. So decide that you can have it, whatever it is that you desire. Just decide, yes, I'm going to have this thing. It's inevitable that I have this thing. Number 3 is release the resistance to having what you desire. So the minute that you choose something and you decide, there's going to be some resistance that comes up. There's going to be stuff that says, oh, you can't have that. Who do you think you are? You weren't born into a family that gets to have those things. You know, the critical voice in your head that's just talking BS all the time at you. So, and that's where all the self-doubt comes from, the unworthiness, the lifelong patterns of self-sabotage. Let me share a story with you about my client, LJ, who's in my Creating Divine Momentum program. It's a 3-month program. It's private. And she had what she called an attack cycle. And if you ever watched that Dr. Dolittle from, I don't know when that was, the 60s, and there was this animal called a push me pull you, and it basically was 2 llamas put end to end in one animal, and they couldn't like decide which way they were going to go. That's what this attack cycle kind of did. It kind of kept her in this place where she was sort of stuck, and she couldn't move forward and she couldn't move back, and she wasn't really happy with where she was, right? Maybe you can relate to this in your life right now, right? You may really want something to be different in your life, right? But you can't move forward and you can't understand what the next step is, right? And the cycle just keeps this perpetual struggle going. So for LJ, one of the things that I do in this program with people is start unpacking things like trauma. For her, her parents had divorced at an early age, and that created a massive trauma. And that's actually where this push me pull you was created, this attack cycle. So we were able to kind of go in and dismantle it. It didn't take long. But this thing, it caused this pattern of self-sabotage that had this pressure attached to it that was like, you have to be perfect. It created procrastination, a lot of overthinking. It was just beautiful self-doubt, unworthiness, and a fight. When you have a fight that's internal like this with yourself, it takes so much bandwidth. It takes so much energy away from the things you really would love doing, right? Because by the time you get to the things that you would love doing, you're worn out. So can anybody let me know in the comments if you can relate to this? Let me know, put a yes if you can relate to this push me, pull you kind of thing. Maybe you have a different version of a push me, pull you that's keeping you in a self-sabotage kind of pattern. The news is that it doesn't have to be permanent. The news is that you can break through it, and you may not be able to do it alone. Just like LJ's story, we had to go in and kind of figure out when this pattern started, right? A lot of times it's hard to see your own stuff. It's hard to see what's going on, why you are where you are, much less how to get out of this situation that's so painful, where you feel stuck, where you feel hopeless, where you feel really frustrated in your own life. This is not the way it's supposed to be, right? So instead of, she was spending a lot of time rehearsing things. Like she would do something and then she'd redo it. And then she'd take a look at it and she's like, oh, that's not good enough. I need to redo it again. Let's look through all the pieces of all the things that I already done and research it again. Let's take a look at it again. Let's not move forward. Let's keep going. And it just was this perpetual loop of doing things that never got anywhere, but felt like crap. Right? So instead of that, having this cycle, which she called an attack cycle, because that's what she felt like, it was like a personal attack on herself, by herself, right? Can anybody relate to this out there? I know I can. I've had different types of self sabotage things where, for you, it might show up like you don't follow through, or you don't ask for what you really want, right? Or need. You just settle for less, right? Or you're comparing yourself to other people, like other people's like chapter 10 when you're on chapter 1 and you're in a totally different book. Can anybody relate to that? Give me a yes in the comments if you can, right? I know I've done that. I know I've gone on like social media and I'm like, oh, look at this person. They're so famous. Why is this? Start comparing. There's no comparison to who you are to another person. It's kind of an insanity. But things happen. We do things. We don't really rationally think about it. It's just emotions and it's feelings and it's thoughts and it's patterns that are entrenched that just keep us in this pattern, this little hamster wheel thing of self-sabotage. And so we stay stuck and we stay in a place that absolutely sucks for our life, for our business, for our relationships, for ourselves. Because what happens is we are abandoning ourselves in all of this. Now, I talk about this because I've done it. Yeah, I may be, a master of mindset, but I got there because I had so much trouble, right? And I had to unwind my own stuff. So I've gone through this journey and I know the path and I know the shortcuts. And I know that this doesn't have to take a long time. So if you have things where you don't follow up, where you don't show up, where you aren't consistent, where you settle for less, where you doubt your own value and your gifts, like your innate spiritual gifts, and you're not using them to make the difference in the world that you were born to make, it's time to stop. It's time to do something different because nothing changes if nothing changes. And the thing is, here you're being called to change yourself, to become something more, to be something bigger than you already are. And the thing is, you were born with everything that you need to do that, right? But sometimes we get these things in the way. And the thing is, we just have to release them. That's number 3. Is to release these things that are in our way. And maybe they're like spiritual blocks. Maybe they're money blocks. Maybe they are limiting beliefs about your worth, about your value, about who you are in the world. You may be telling stories to yourself that validate that. And that's okay. I used to do it too. I did. Who do you think you are, Condi? Who do you think you are to go on Facebook and tell people about manifesting, And that whole thing about imposter syndrome. So if you're having challenges, I want to let you know that it's changeable, that anything is possible. Anything is possible. And over the last 12 years working with people, I've seen just about every kind of miracle and mind-blowing thing happen, from people healing from chronic illness that was incurable, to people 10xing their income, to people finding the love of their life in a single month and flying off to Bora Bora to get married. I can't even make these things up. So if you're ready for change, if you're ready for a positive change in your life, I'm just going to invite you now to schedule a connection call with me. It's a free service that I have. If you haven't done it already, there's a link above. So please click it. It's 20 minutes with me to find out what the next steps are to manifest the life that you love. It's really that simple. If at the end of that time together, I feel like we're a fit, I'll invite you to work with me. But I'm not going to pressure anybody into doing something. If you're not ready, you're not ready. And it's just a conversation. So if you'd like to have a conversation with me, click the link, schedule it, and let's get on to number 4 on my list here. So number 4 in the simple steps to creating a life you love, is to allow. And that may sound ridiculous. Like, of course, I'm going to allow this thing to get in, you know. Of course, I'm going to allow the lottery ticket winning to come to me, right? No. A lot of times, if you don't do number 3, to release all the stuff that says you can't have it and change the belief that you're not worthy of it or you're not enough to have it, then number 4 is really hard, to just allow it to come in, right? And allowing it to come in, there's a sense of certainty. There's a piece that's detachment, like it's okay if I don't have the thing because I already feel like I'm at peace where I am. It would be great to have the thing. It feels really good to have the thing, but there's nothing wrong with me. I'm completely whole the way I am, and I'm happy the way I am. It would be great if that came in, but there's not a desperation. You know what I'm talking about? There's not a desperation to bring it in. Like, I have to have this thing. This thing is going to change my life. This thing is going to, like, when I have this thing, then I'm going to be happy. When I have this thing, I'm going to be satisfied. When I have this thing, then blah, blah, blah. No. It doesn't matter what, it's not about getting the thing. It's about you creating a vibration for yourself. It's about you creating a level of peace in your life right now. That's the thing that you can do today. That's what you can change today, because you have complete control over your emotions and your thoughts and, yes, your feelings. It just takes a little bit of time to understand how to master your emotions, how to master these different things. And the thing is, and I know I've talked about this Creating Divine Momentum program. I'm going to mention it again. My tools and strategies that I teach people are phenomenally fast. I mean, it's like quantum energy fast. And I know I've talked about it before, but one of my clients recently, I was helping her through shame. Like, she had a profound, intensely deep level of shame that came from something that happened like 50 years ago. For 50 years, she carried this shame, and it impacted every level of her life. Within, I'd say, 15 minutes of working with me, it was gone. That's not unusual. Those are the kind of results I get for people over and over and over again, because that's the skill set that I excel at, is clearing things out for people, making room for new things to flow in, being in that space of feeling at peace in their life, bringing in a state of happiness. For some of them, they've never, ever experienced happiness before. And to me, I feel honored to do this profound work and to help people really step into their worth and their authentic state of being, and use their spiritual gifts to make an impact in the world. And yes, to be paid well for it, right? To have an abundant income from the work that they do, to change lives in that way. So if all of that is intriguing to you, number one, you can schedule a connection call with me. That's free. The link is above. I have 3 open spots in my Creating Divine Momentum program right now, and you can start as early as next week to change your life in a really positive way that's permanent. So I will be back again next week with another installment. I hope that you have learned some takeaways today. You've gotten some golden nuggets today. I've shared some, I think, life-changing information today. Let me recap what we've covered. Okay. The 4 steps, right, to creating a life you absolutely love. Number 1, choose what you'd love. Sounds simple. Choose something you love, not what's reasonable, practical, or what you should do. Choose what you love. What's your heart's desire? Find it out. 2, decide you get to have it. 3, release everything in the way of you having it. 4, allow yourself to have it, right? So I hope that you've gleaned some really important information today about the possibility of really creating something so much better for yourself than where you are today. No matter where you are in your journey, it can get better. So join me next week for more information on manifesting and tips, hacks, stories of transformation as we roll into the month of October. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for being in my orbit. I love you very much and have a wonderful, happy week manifesting. Bye now.